What's going on, everyone? I'm AB Sports, and I am back to rank the top 100 NFL players going into the 2021 season. NFL training camp just started, and the season is a little over a month away. So today, I'm going to give you the first part of my top 100 list, numbers 100 to 76. At number 100 is Kirk Cousins, the Vikings quarterback. Cousins definitely is not a top 10 quarterback. He's right there in that 13 to 16 range, but he can get the job done, and he's not going to lose you games. 99, Jonathan Taylor, a player I could see being a whole lot higher on this list next year. He absolutely broke out in the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season last year, and actually ended up 4th or 5th in the NFL in total rushing yards. Taylor has a great offensive line and a better quarterback now in Carson Wentz than he had in Phillip Rivers last season, and he should be one of the big reasons that the Colts make the playoffs this year. Number 98 is Tremaine Edmunds. He is a tackling machine, and he's also good in coverage. There's a lot of linebackers in the NFL today that are really good tacklers and stopping the run, but can't cover tight ends or running backs out of the backfield. And since it's a passing league, it's very important to find linebackers who can cover too, and that's what Edmunds does. 97, John Johnson. Probably the least known player on this list. He was a safety for the Rams these last few years, and is a really hard-hitting safety who can also cover, defensive backs who can also cover and not only just make tackles or interceptions is going to be a common theme on this list. Johnson should be a fantastic fit for the Browns, and their weakness last year was their secondary, so he should fix that up. 96, Tristan Wirfs. Rookie offensive tackle for the Bucs last year, started every single game and protected Tom Brady on the Bucs' way to the Super Bowl. You just do not see that out of rookie offensive linemen, and he was the 4th offensive tackle drafted in last year's draft. So hats off to the Bucs for making this fantastic pick. 95, Chris Carson, running back who is injured pretty often, but when he's on the field, he is good. He's a bruiser, he trucks people. Carson was re-signed this year by the Seahawks, and he should continue to get a big workload. 94, Cooper Kupp. One of the league's best slot receivers. Kupp catches everything thrown his way. He's not an elite receiver. You can see he's number 19 out of all the wide receivers. I have a very wide receiver heavy list because there's a ton of awesome wide receiver talent in the league right now. But Kupp is going to be, I think, the favorite of Matthew Stafford because he can also stretch the field from the slot, and the Rams' new quarterback Stafford is definitely a deep ball QB. 93, Marcus Peters, cornerback from Baltimore. He is a master at forcing turnovers. Peters forces so many fumbles and picks off a lot of passes. He's not as great in coverage, and a lot of the times when DBs make big plays, they also allow big plays because they really go for it and sometimes let receivers run by them, but the positives outweigh the negatives with Peters. Number 92 is Baker Mayfield. Say what you want about Baker. He led the Browns to the divisional round last year. I don't like it when people say the Browns are better when Baker Mayfield doesn't throw. Sure, the offensive line and the running game opens it up for him to be able to throw, but he threw 11 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last half of the season last year without Odell. Baker's not necessarily going to win games for the Browns, but he's not going to lose them for them. And that is more important when the Browns have a roster like they do. 91 is Corey Linsley. He was an all-pro center for the Packers last year and really protected Aaron Rodgers and blocked for Aaron Jones well. The Chargers just signed him in free agency to protect Justin Herbert for hopefully many years to come. I think it was a great move, and I think they'll get their money's worth from Lindsey. 90, Kenny Golladay, the big free agent signing of the Giants. Golladay was on the Lions, and he had a really injury-plagued season last year, but in 2019, Golladay was awesome for the Lions, catching so many deep ball passes. Now, Daniel Jones is not as good of a deep ball quarterback as Matthew Stafford is, but Golladay should still be able to get open down the field and has a big wingspan so he can catch some of Daniel Jones's inaccurate passes and hopefully make the Giants score more than like 16 points a game because they were so bad last year. 89, Tyler Lockett, another one of the best deep ball receivers in the league. If Lockett breaks free in the secondary and catches a long touchdown, they're going to start rolling a safety over onto him, which would then leave Metcalf open on the next drive and clear running lanes for Chris Carson. Seahawks have really got this offense thing figured out. If only their defense could catch up. 88, CeeDee Lamb. I think Lamb is an absolute superstar. I think he's the best receiver on the Cowboys. I don't even have Amari Cooper on this list. That's the only Amari Cooper you're going to see is in the background of this picture right now. I think Lamb's going to be Dak's favorite target this year and could put up 1,200, 1,300 yards. He was awesome in Oklahoma, and he continued to produce last year with Andy Dalton and Ben DiNucci and all those random guys. Makes really good catches and always seems to be open across the middle. CeeDee Lamb's going to have a fantastic season, and if he was up in the 30s or 40s next year, I would not be too surprised. 87 is Denzel Ward. He was the number 4 overall pick a few years ago by the Browns. He's not talked about all that much, but he's a really good corner. Locks down teams' number 1 receivers. I feel like people say the Browns secondary isn't good or wasn't good last year because it wasn't. It wasn't Ward's fault. They had 2 terrible safeties, not any good linebackers in coverage, and the corner on the other side, Grady Williams, he got hurt week 1, so they didn't have anybody else. But Ward was doing a good job at locking down the receiver he was told to guard, but that doesn't do anything if there's another receiver running free in the secondary. Number 86, Brandon Scherff, another highly drafted player who has just gotten the job done. Scherff has been blocking on the Washington football team offensive line for 5 or 6 years now, continually regarded as one of the top offensive linemen in the game, and he's just getting better with age. 85, Ezekiel Elliott. People might think this is low, but if you had Zeke in fantasy last year, you know how disappointing he was after Dak went down, and that could be used as an excuse, or it could be used as saying Zeke isn't quite the top-tier elite running back that we thought he was, because when Dak Prescott went down, he wasn't able to continue to carry the Cowboys. Zeke averaged like less than 4 yards per carry, and he needs to have a bounce-back season to justify his big contract he got. 84, Eddie Jackson of the Bears. This is probably the second best ball-hawking safety in the NFL behind Minkah Fitzpatrick. Jackson is a defensive touchdown monster. He just grabs the ball out of the air and off the ground and finds a way to get it to the end zone, which is massive for a team like the Bears who does not score very much on offense. And he needs to be the anchor of the secondary now that Kyle Fuller is in Denver. 83, Terry McLaurin, the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. McLaurin has put up huge numbers his rookie year and his second year in the league with no one at quarterback. Taylor Heineke, Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, Colt McCoy, Case Keenum. These are all quarterbacks who should not be starting in the NFL. And McLaurin's put up big numbers with them by consistently getting open down the field and giving these inaccurate QBs a wide open target to throw it to. If Ryan Fitzpatrick starts the whole season for Washington, McLaurin could lead the league in receiving because Fitzpatrick will chuck it deep. Don't care if you're triple covered, and McLaurin can catch a lot of those. He's a really, really good weapon for the Washington football team. 82, Derwin James, a player who is so sad to me that he has been hurt each of the last 2 seasons because going back and watching some of his rookie year highlights in 2018, he was so good. I had him ranked in the 30s on my list, my top 100 list after his rookie year. I could not put him any higher than this because we haven't seen him on the field since 2018, and we don't know how good he's going to be when he does come back, but I would expect him to be a lights-out defender for the Chargers in the back, getting sacks, interceptions, tons of tackles, and he's great in coverage. Derwin James is a star who is going to really help the Chargers in their push to the playoffs this season. 81, Grady Jarrett. Racks up sacks, racks up tackles in the run game. He's a valuable piece of that Atlanta defense, and he's someone who could get traded to a contender at like the trade deadline if Atlanta's 1-7 or something, because his talent is unfortunately being wasted in Atlanta right now. 80 is Cam Jordan of the Saints, an elite edge rusher for most of his career. He's on the downhill stages of his career. He had one of his worst years in 2020. The Saints are going through a lot of turmoil, you could say, as a team right now. Is he going to be Winston or Taysom Hill as a starter? They had to cut tons of players for the salary cap issues. Michael Thomas is out and injured, and a lot of their good players are getting older, like Cam Jordan and a player you'll see in a couple on this list, a couple spots on this list. They should still be able to produce, but not the level they once did. 79 is Austin Ekeler, running back for the Chargers. Ekeler also missed a lot of last season with an injury, but when he was out there, he had a really good connection with Justin Herbert out of the backfield. I think Ekeler is the third best pass catching running back in the NFL behind Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara, who you will see around the top 20 video when that comes out. But Ekeler is a valuable piece for the Chargers offense, who should have a really big season if he and Herbert both stay healthy. 78, Demario Davis, absolute monster. He helps make clutch tackles. I remember first and second and third down or something, he tackled Dalvin Cook on the goal line in the playoffs before they scored on fourth down. Middle linebacker is like the quarterback of the defense. They call the plays and make sure everyone's in the right spot, and Demario's really smart, but sort of like Cameron Jordan, sort of on the down of his career. He's getting up in age. 77, Eric Kendricks, the best pass coverage linebacker in the NFL. Kendricks guards tight ends and guards them well and guards running backs out of the backfield. He doesn't make flashy plays and force fumbles and interceptions because no one throws it his way because he's covering the player well. As a DB, you don't necessarily want to have your highlighted bunch like an offensive lineman. No one talks about you unless you're letting up sacks. Same thing as linebackers. No one talks about you if you're just covering the tight end or the running back really well. 76 is Jeremy Chinn, the safety for the Panthers. He was a rookie last year, and most NFL fans don't know his name, but absolutely should. In a world where there's no Chase Young, Jeremy Chinn was Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. He scored 2 defensive touchdowns in like 7 minutes or something, and just made big plays, making tackles, covering people like Devontae Adams throughout an entire game. Chinn's a box safety, think like a Tyrann Mathieu or something, but he has the potential to become the best safety in the league in a couple years. He was a second-round pick by the Panthers. He's part of their young defense that I think is going to help lead them to the playoffs this season. That was number 176. If you enjoyed, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Numbers 75 to 51 will be coming out soon, and so will the rest of the list. And thanks for watching.